Decentering men is not about not interacting with men. It's more about managing your expectations with men.
What is the first word that comes to your head when someone say decenter man and center yourself? Most people think that it means hating men. Let's talk about this. Hey, beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome back to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So, this video, we want to talk about what decentering men is like, what it really means for me, you, other women are going to share what it means for them, and then also what it means to center yourself, to take care of yourself, to look after yourself, and what you get out of it. I know when we talk about the sentiment, the first thing that comes to people's mind, and even you have gotten it a couple of times here on this channel, people say, oh, you hate men, you don't like men, da 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 da. And a lot of time people don't get it that it's a different thing from hating a man and decentering men and centering yourself. And I'm going to share my own story because, hey guys, you guys know I am the poster board of a married woman that decenter men. Yeah, I am that poster board. I am that poster board. And most time people feel like when you're married, you can't decenter men because you're with a man, or because you decenter men, that means you can have a boyfriend, you can have a husband. No, we're gonna get into that. So let's get your other women's take on decenter men, what it means to them. I want to know what it means to you, what decenter men means to you, and what centering yourself means to you. I want to know. So let's get your other ladies' thoughts on decentering men, and then we'll come back and talk more.
One thing we should all learn from men as women is putting ourselves first. Yeah. A man will leave a woman with kids all because he's putting himself first. A man will choose to cheat on you all because he's putting his happiness first. Yeah. A man will lie to you all because he's protecting his peace. So in conclusion, as a woman, stop being selfless and start being a little bit more selfish. Yeah. Put yourself first because men will always put themselves first. And don't feel guilty about it at all.
Some of you seem to be confused about what decentering men actually means, so allow me to explain it to you. You can be in a relationship and still decenter men. You can be married and still decenter men. You can be celibate, you can be actively dating and still have men decentered in your life. What this phrase means is that you have established a life outside of the approval and the desire of men. So how do you know if you're doing that? Here are a few questions that you can ask yourself. First, if I did not care about looking attractive or looking sexy to the opposite sex, what would I actually like to wear? What makes me feel comfortable? How do I want to show up in the world? If I did not get married, how could I create the best and most abundant life for myself? What would that look like? Am I actively creating that life now? And lastly, what hobbies or interests do I have that don't involve being around men or have male attention as a component of it? That's all it is. I don't know where the narrative came from that suggested that decentering men equated to hating men. That is not the case. We've seen now that so many women get into these relationships with men, and when the relationship ends, they don't even know who they are or what they enjoy doing. We are no longer losing ourselves in relationships because we don't have to.
I don't know who said this, but you cannot control a smart woman. You can only control a woman who does not prioritize herself. And that is the truth. When people look at me and say, oh my God, she's so full of herself. Of course I'm full of myself. What else am I supposed to be full of? I am a single woman. And by single, I mean there is not a single human being on this planet Earth that is depending on me for life. I am single. What else am I supposed to be full of? You? Your bullshit? Am I supposed to be full of hating myself? Am I supposed to be full of the insecurities that all of these industries are pushing? No, I'm full of myself. I prioritize myself. And I'm sure there are plenty of women that will bow down to you, but I'm not one of them. I'm just not one of them. And I just feel like women should be full of themselves. We should be full of our goals, our dreams, building our lives, finding independence, not all this bullshit that they're trying to sell to us.
To the girls who've never been asked out on a date, have never been in a relationship before, have never had any sort of male encounter with like a man telling them that they like you or anything like that. Decentering men is going to be a completely different path than it is for somebody who's already had a boyfriend, who's already went through all the things and everything like that. It's going to be a lot harder, I feel, to decenter men when you've never had that attention, because when you don't have that attention, unconsciously you want to feel that. You want to feel wanted by the person that you find attractive, and if they don't want you, you're gonna always want that.
Decentering men is not about not interacting with men. It's more about managing your expectations with men. It's about realizing that most of the men you interact with are not going to be that guy. And if he's giving unserious energy, just simply match the energy and get what you can get out of the situation and enjoy yourself. Separate yourself from the outcome of this man, because the outcome for you is irrelevant. The only way the outcome becomes relevant is if he makes it relevant. I'm going to give you an example. You can have consensual, safe relations with men and take them unseriously because that's how he's acting. But if this man behaves differently, then you can move him out of that unserious category and into a considerate category. That's what it means. Just manage your expectations around these men.
So one of the things I'm told very often because of my videos is the fact that I hate men. And I just want to clarify that there is a huge difference between hating men and decentering men. And I've done the latter. A year and a half ago, I made a very conscious decision to completely decenter men from my life. And what I mean by decentering is that I will no longer think, feel, act, dress or plan my life around the guy being my compass. Because in the past, whenever I got into a long-term relationship, I would find myself giving myself too much for someone when I should have never been with them in the first place. But now that I'm older, I've come to realize that any guy that isn't the one that helps you flourish and thrive is bad for you. The mere existence of the wrong guy in your life will take away your attention and will completely up your timelines. They are taking up mental space and your energy, and these are things that you cannot measure, but it's the only thing that actually matters. And I'll tell you what's happened once I decentered men. I started sleeping better. I've now started taking care of my body. I got a promotion at my work. I built a well-paying career out of social media simply because I now had the time and energy to think, feel, speak. Most importantly, I've come back to alignment. My thoughts, my feelings, my actions are now focused on one thing, which is my well-being and improving the quality of my life. I'm sure that a right guy will bring me the same amount of peace, but it is quite hard to find that person. But until I find that guy, I will not be influenced by society or my age or what people tell me. I'm reserving my soft girl energy for only and only the right guy.
So ladies, let's talk about decentering men in your lives. But before we go any further, let me explain to you what this video is not about. Number one, it's not about hating men because that's a trauma response. Number two, this video is not about saying relationships are not an integral part of our lives, because they are. So that said, let us then look at what decentering men is all about. This is a concept that comes from the understanding that many women put relationships at the core of their lives. Now, this is all good until you realize that solely focusing on relationships means that you miss other aspects of your life. So, decentering men, therefore, is about putting yourself at the center of your life, to say that if I put myself at the center, then I'm going to self-actualize, then I'm going to reach my highest potential. As a woman, I have so many aspects to me that I should also focus on, because collectively those aspects bring a fuller version of me. So think of yourself like an octopus. An octopus has so many legs, and these legs could represent different aspects of your lives. So this means that maybe leg one could be your relationship, leg two could be your parenting, leg three could be your job, leg four could be your dreams, leg five could be your hobbies, leg six could be friendships, and many other things that matter to you as a woman. So decentering men, therefore, is about you understanding that I matter. My life should be about waking up to ask myself, what can I do to improve my life today? Not what should I do to make my relationship better. There's going to be certain moments where your focus is on relationships, because like I said, we want relationships. We are social beings and they matter to us. But if you want to grow and fully embrace who you are as a woman, then relationships cannot be your only focus on your life. Most women, the moment they open their mouth, the first thing they talk about is their relationships. Hello, what about your dreams? Hello, what about your hobbies? What about all other aspects of your life? So decentering men, therefore, is about putting yourself back at the center, to say everyone in my life and everything in my life should work together to help me achieve my fullest potential.
At what point will you women realize that there is no reward for being picked by a guy who still thinks that he's better than you? Like, you engage in competition with other women, which is against your nature, because as women, we are cooperative in nature. So you went against your own nature to prove that you are worthy enough to be with a guy who does not think that you are better than him. He thinks he's better than you. No matter how much you went out of your way to try to prove how you're better than other women, he still thinks he's better than you. What is the point in engaging in that competition? What is the point in winning that competition? What is the point in being in a relationship with someone who does not see you as an equal? The only reason why he picked you is because he can see that your self-esteem is so low that you are willing to compete with other women to gain his approval. And he gave it to you temporarily by choosing you. But he's still going to take every single chance he possibly can take to remind you that you are lower than him in terms of worth. Okay, and he's not going to treat you like the queen that you are, because you have proven to him that you don't even think you're a queen. The thing about having self-love and self-worth and self-confidence is that you don't wait for somebody else to confirm it, especially a man who believes that he's better than you. Any dude who believes that he's better than you is not a dude that you need validation from. There's just nothing you can do to make him think that you're better than him or equal to him. And it's not a competition anyway. Why do you want to be in a relationship with a man who does not think that you are equal to him and is going to make you jump through hoops to prove how worthy you are, but there's no reward, there's no prize? A lot of you girls get your self-worth out of making other women the enemy instead of the dude that you're dating. And that's why he treats you like the enemy. That's why even though he picked you, he treats you like an op, because he's in competition with you, because he does not see you as an actual human being. He sees you as someone who's going to temporarily validate his ego, stroke his ego, and as soon as he gets bored, he's going to triangulate you with another woman, because he knows that you engage in competition with other women. And so when he needs another ego stroke, he's going to cheat, he's going to talk to another girl, he's going to pit another girl against you. Even if it's not a girl that he wants to be romantically involved with, he's going to do that with his mother, his sister, his cousin, whatever, okay? And then he's going to watch as you struggle and flail to prove yourself to him by competing with this other woman. That's so pathetic. It's pathetic, and it's a waste of your time, and it's a waste of your youth, and it's a waste of your energy. You are a woman who is born with value. You are born with a portal of life in your body. You are inherently valuable. You do not need to be engaging in competition with anybody to prove your worth to anybody, especially a man. Men are the ones who created systems of competition in order to prove their worth in society, because they know that deep down at their core, they are not worthy of a woman unless they can prove to her that they can take care of her, that they can protect her, that they can provide for the offspring that she will use her body to create and birth into the world. This is your sign to stop seeking male validation and to stop putting male validation on such a high pedestal. When you validate yourself as a woman, everybody else will validate you also. And if they don't, it doesn't affect you because you've already validated yourself. These guys want you to be seeking their validation and seeking their approval because it gives them power over you. Why do you want a dude who doesn't even have $100 in the bank account to have power over you? Why? You have the power to bring life into this world. He doesn't even have $100 to his name. And you're giving him your power by telling him it's important for you to validate me and for me to be picked by you, dude who doesn't have $100. See how crazy that sounds? Ladies, please snap out of it. Snap out of it. Stop competing with other girls. Stop competing with other women for the attention of a particle of dust. It's not your responsibility to prove how valid you are or how worthy you are of male attention by competing with other women. Okay? That is a system made up by men. It's irrelevant. It's nonsense. It's made up. You can stop playing that game whenever you decide. But the first step to deciding that you want to stop playing this game is deciding that you no longer need their validation. They don't even validate themselves. They don't even validate themselves, ladies. How do you want someone who has less than $100 and doesn't validate themselves to validate you? Set on that one.
Let me know your own take on Decentering Men. What's your own take? Go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. But please, please, as always, keep it respectful. You're on this channel, we're here to disagree, but we'll do it in a respectful. So if you disagree with anything being said or anything I say, go on and do it. Or anything someone says in the comment, just be respectful about it, okay? For me, I love this type of conversation over and over again. That's what my entire channel is all about. I would say that's almost what my entire personality is right now, because I'm in that my married single girl era. I'm in that my decentering man. And most times when I talk about decentering man, when I talk to other ladies, even some of my friends, like put yourself first, put yourself in the center, take care of yourself, most times you usually come off as old. That means you don't like men anymore, you hate men, what happened to your husband, are you getting a divorce or something? And I usually tell them, because I am no longer centering a man in my life, that doesn't mean I hate men or I don't want relationship, I don't want marriage, I don't know. As much as we know, as human beings, we are supposed to socialize together, but it's just that there's a lot of mind games that has been playing, a lot of lies being told, and that's why it's affecting relationship. Or else naturally, the way we are created to be with each other, to live with each other, but there's a lot of mind games that is affecting especially women's health, women's physical look, like generally the entire ideology of relationship, or the stand of being in a relationship, is always like the man is the prize. And most women have been raised a certain way to, not most women, all women, because I unlearn it. I have to unlearn that centering a man in my life, because like in my environment, in my culture, in my society, from your father's house you go to your husband's house. So even as a young girl that is trying to know herself, know our way, we're not even allowed to know ourselves, because our mother raising us as a girls, they're teaching us how to cook, how to clean for our husband and our children. We're naturally raised that we are here for other people, which is our husband, our children, and that has subconsciously make us, especially even as women, some women don't even want to strive, because in their head, I just need a rich husband that's going to take me out of this place, and then I have my children and I take care of my children. But the truth is that that is way far from the reality, because as much as we are raised that way as women, that the way this what came to this life to cater for a man and to have children and all that, the truth is that that is not the truth. But that is how we're raised. And even the men are not raised to be husbands. We were raised to be wives and give birth to children. But the men, they are not raised to be fathers. They're not raised to be husbands. They are just raised to be a human being. They have an identity. They have their own goals, and they just strive. And that's why I'm trying to tell ladies, I'm not saying being in a relationship, it is a beautiful thing. But being in a relationship when you know who you are, what you are, and you have your own identity, not that your entire identity is around a man. And I have shared this story a couple of times here on my channel. I was privileged to have a mom, a grandmom. I was privileged to have a mom and a grandmom that I could see two sides of the coin. My grandmom was a very independent, self-sufficient woman that knows her worth. And that does not just come from out of the space. That comes from her, from her journey and how she lived her life. She was married twice, and I saw how strong she is and how she decenter men. And I saw it, even though then it wasn't called decenter men. She had a husband who was now my step grandfather, which I love to death. But I saw the relationship she had with them. And my grandma was somebody that was very, very open. And she would tell a story about our other marriage and all that. And she shared the story of how she was mistreated in her first marriage and how the marriage didn't serve a purpose for her. She told us the story of how she was in love, little girl, and all that formed an ideology in my head that made me kind of like, okay. But even at that, my grandmom also wanted something amazing for my mom because she still felt like being a mom, being a wife was still a goal. And she encouraged my mom to do that. And my mom did that. And I saw the two side of the coin. And my mom was a very handsome mom, a housewife, literally. And my dad was the provider, which I've talked about here, how my dad was the provider. And that's why when women talk about, oh, I just need a man that provides, da 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 da, da, is a different conversation because they are not telling you the full view of a man that provides, which that's another video. But I was privileged to see how being center a man and how centering yourself and how working on yourself, improving yourself, getting your bag up. Because some people will say, oh, money does not matter. Money matters, especially the time and the society we live in now. Money is very, very important. And you need to get your bag up so that you can protect yourself as a woman, because most women are in relationship because they don't have their money. We have men come here to talk about how they target poor women because they know they can take advantage of them. So when we say as women, center yourself, we're saying, you know what, look after yourself, know who you are, know yourself, know your worth, do the healing, so that when you attract what you want, when you attract the man you want to attract, you attract the man that suits who you are as a person. A lot of women, they've overshadowed who they are, that they don't even know who they are. If you ask most women who you are, the first thing they are going to tell you, I'm a mother, I'm a wife. And you tell them, take away being a mother, take away being a wife, who are you? A lot of women don't know who they are because that is how they are raised. And that is the only thing they know. And that is the only thing they develop, even as a young girl, that they can. And coming from somebody that has been married for 10, 11 years, I keep saying 10 years, it's 11 years now, that has been married for 11 years, being with my husband for 21 years plus now, and getting to the journey where I did the work, I did the healing. Yes, I used to be that woman that centered my husband, and I'm telling you, and that's why I can stand here and I can speak on it and I can tell you people, I used to be that woman that centers my man. I was with this man for 10 years before we got married. That was how much he was my word. He was my everything, my life, my dreams, my visions, all was orchestrated about how we are going to do it. We have to do it. We have to do it. Where I lost myself and I started pushing back a lot of my own desire, my own dreams. And that is what it does to you when you center a man. You lose yourself. And I got to a place where I started doing the work and I started doing the healing and I started finding myself and I started decentering men. And that does not mean I don't love my husband. That does not mean I don't want my husband. But that just means that I am the most important person in my life. And when you are in that frequency, that's the very high frequency that you are, a very high self-esteem that you are, a very aware. And as a woman, when you're very aware, and the thing is that we have a very good intuition, we are a very spiritual being. Then imagine being that type of spiritual being that we are, and then being very self-aware and very self-centered. Ooh, I'm surprised that I started saying it because this is my dream for every woman, because the internal peace and happiness that comes from when you center yourself, when you ask yourself and say, what is this I want for my life? What is it? This is coming from a married woman that center herself. I put myself first. Everything about my life is me first. And that I will give it to my husband. People, it's been respected. And I got a lot of pushback from it. A lot of people said I was crazy. A lot of people said, oh, you're being a feminist. A lot of people said, oh, you're teaching young girls the wrong thing. Why are you trying to teach young girls not to strive to have husbands? I'm like, no, I'm not telling them not to have a husband. I'm telling them to center themselves. And one thing that comes with centering yourself as a woman, which is a beautiful thing, and this is why people think that centering yourself as a woman, and that means you hate men, is because when you center yourself, you that old society standard and society desire and dream that you need a man. Not that you want a man. The difference that you want a man and you need a man is a two different things. That society ideology that puts in your head and said that you need a man, it's out of the door. And that, I feel like that is where society fears the most, because when it's out of the door, now you're not doing things to impress a man. Now you're not doing things to cater to a man, and you're doing things just for yourself, and that scares men, scares our society, scares our parents, because at this point the only thing they know is that you have to get married, you have to be with a man, and now you're in that place where that is not your goal, that is not your desire. You're just being your authentic self, and I can tell you, you can be your authentic self and you will still attract a man that will wants to be with you for being yourself without you losing yourself. There are men out there, they're amazing. What the thing is that I feel like as women, for we to get those type of men, or for we to live our authentic self, we need to center ourselves. We need to put ourselves in that place, because when you center yourself, you start caring for yourself, you start loving yourself, you start doing things for yourself, and that's a beautiful feeling. Like you, a lot of you guys know that I went on a solo birthday vacation that ended up lasting 2 months being by myself, and I learned it was a different level of self-awareness, self-love, self-finding that I found that was a different level of it. Because I know I'm on the journey and I'm still on the journey, but it was a different level, which I love. I love that piece of being by myself, being in my bed by myself. That it was so beautiful. I love it. And that's one thing that a lot of women are scared of, being alone. And I will not lie to you guys. I myself, I was one of those people that I was scared so much being alone. I was scared. Like I said this a couple of times. I used to be that person. Like I've always wanted to travel. I always wanted to as much as I can. But my husband was the type that he was busy. He doesn't have time for all that. Da 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 da. And I remember when I, like I said, you know what? F it. I'm going to start going trips on my, I was scared when I haven't decenter man, because if he's not going, then I'm not going. I can't go a trip on alone. Like, why should I go on a trip on alone? And I'll sit my butt at home for years without going on any trip and all that. And now that I've centered myself, girl, your girl is working so hard so that you can buy tickets to travel. I'm loving it. So when the centering yourself as a woman is one of the most beautiful thing you can do as a woman. And I know it doesn't just start up in one day. It is, I'm saying it, and you guys can see the excitement I've been. And I will tell you guys, and I've said it a couple of times here on this channel, the happiest I've been in my 40 years of life has been in the past 3 years now. And that's it. Like when I'm talking happiness, I'm talking a genuine happiness, not faking it, not like a genuine peace and happiness that comes is the fact knowing that I'm living my life for myself, very intentional. I am the main character in my life. It's like, oof. It's a beautiful feeling, because that also puts your mind in a place where you know as a woman that you need to hustle, you need to get your bag up, because now you're not relying on any man. Because in my society, that's what women do. They rely on men, and that ends up getting them abused, both mentally, both physically and financially. But when you're not centering yourself, you're taking that power away from this man, and you're owning up yourself, your life. And that's a beautiful feeling, sisters. That's a beautiful thing, women. And that's my dream for you guys. I'm not saying you guys don't get a boyfriend, don't have a husband, but work on yourself, center yourself, and you attract that person that is going to appreciate you for centering yourself and love you for it. I'm telling you. Because whether you like it or not, the way society structure marriage and structure relationship is not for you women. Society structure it for you as a woman to slave away, to give your life, to give and get nothing, and don't expect anything. Just keep pouring and pouring and give all of yourself and don't expect anything. But you can change that narrative. Coming from a woman that changed that narrative, you can change that narrative of just pouring and pouring and pour into yourself. Anyway, guys, I love to know what you think about this amazing conversation down in the comment section. Go ahead down in the comment section and share your thought. Love to know what you think about this amazing conversation. Okay, so please, I love to know what your own take on center men. Are you on the decenter men journey? Have you centered yourself? What are the things that change for you once you center yourself? Let me know yours down in the comment section. Okay, love to know your take. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see, and that'll be you supporting this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.